Mathis Kurat says the Frankfurt Motor Show has really pulled in the crowds. One of the star attractions is right next to him, the Volkswagen Up. It may be just over 3.5 meters long, but the Up can comfortably seat 4 passengers. There's 3 engines to choose from, 2 petrol units and a natural gas option. And it'll be the first car in its class to offer an automatic emergency brake system for city motoring. The car's platform can also be adapted for spin-off versions. Alongside the Cross Up, the Buggy Up could also be hitting showrooms. The Eco Up emits only 79 grams of carbon dioxide every kilometre. Or how about a cabriolet? As if that wasn't enough, Volkswagen is unveiling its new take on urban transport, the all-electric Nils. Mattis thinks weekend getaways might be difficult, but then again the car is designed for commuting. He asked people whether they would like to go to work in a car like this. This motorist can imagine driving to work in it because it's an electric car. He likes the quiet and environmentally friendly motoring. And there's also the question of how much it costs. Mattis says a price and launch date for the Nils haven't been set, so we'll have to wait and see what will become of it. After all, it's only a concept. What isn't a concept, nor electric for that matter, is the Porsche 911. The latest generation of the cult classic looks flatter and longer than its previous incarnations, but it still holds true to the iconic design and is unmistakably Porsche. It features an all-new lightweight body with an aluminium steel composite construction. Under the skin, the wheelbase is 10 centimetres longer. For ex-racing driver Walter Röhrl, the 911 is the embodiment of Porsche. He thinks it's Porsche's most important car. It's an iconic car, and for him, the centrepiece of the range. That's what rivals Mercedes-Benz has been lacking. It's appealing to all corners of the market and unveiling the second-generation B-Class. It's a sleek machine with a drag coefficient of only 0.26. The B-Class is aiming for the top spot in its class and even offers more rear legroom than the S-Class. Daimler's Joachim Schmidt says the B-Class is versatile, dynamic, very efficient and very safe. He thinks these qualities make it a unique offering in the compact car market. Kia has come to Frankfurt with a new 3-door version of the Rio. It's been specially designed for the European market, just a stone's throw away in Kia's design studio here in Frankfurt. The designers have made it wider, lower, longer and cheaper. In Germany, the base model will cost under €10,000. The range offers automatic air conditioning, adjustable steering, keyless entry and adaptive headlights. Kia's parent company, Hyundai, is showing off its second-generation i30, also designed in Germany. Former Germany and current USA soccer coach Jürgen Klinsmann is among the many admirers of the car's new sweeping windscreen. A panoramic glass roof is an optional extra across the range, and for the first time, Hyundai is offering a knee airbag, adaptive lights and an electronic parking brake. Mattis says that apart from the new i30, Hyundai is also lending out electric scooters. He thinks they're a must at the world's largest motor show. At the other end of the market, Bentley has unveiled its new Continental GTC. Bentley has given it a contemporary look, but also sprinkled in a dose of sportiness thanks to sharper curves and an aggressive stance. Thanks to the latest techniques, there's no welds or seams to be seen on the aluminium front wings. That gives the GTC the look and feel of a coach-built car. Inside, the cabin is draped in leather, wood veneer and deep pile carpets. Wolfgang Durheimer from Bentley says the design has been tuned. The car's lines are precise and there are lots of small touches. It's a quality and sporty car. It's a similar story over at Chevrolet. The car maker is entering the medium-sized market next year with its Malibu. customers will be able to choose between a 2-litre petrol engine or a 2.4-litre diesel unit. The Malibu takes its design cues from the rest of the range. A 2-piece grille up front and the iconic Chevrolet badges front and back. And the Malibu features twin LED rear clusters, taken from its big brother, the Camaro. In Europe, the model will be available with either manual or automatic transmission. Crowds in Frankfurt also witnessed the unveiling of the A2 concept, an all-electric mini MPV with seating for 4. Audi is also showcasing its new seating concept, featuring 4 single seats. A light strip connects the front headlights with the tail lights, and there is trick lighting all round. The A2 dispenses with a conventional centre console to make room for a high-tech drive-by-wire system. All of the car's mechanical parts have been replaced by electronic components. Mattis says not only petrol heads are visiting the motor show, the little ones who like to race cars in their living room are also here. That's what I'm going to do with German racing legend Hans-Joachim Stuck and Captain Carrera. All set, ready, steady, go. Two mighty off-roaders are battling it out to be crowned king of the mountains. They're ready to test each other's mettle, but it's something of a David and Goliath contest. But the only weapons they'll have at their disposal are 4 and 6 wheels. It's a battle between the largest and smallest production 4x4s. Our test driver, Jörg Malzahn, is in an old gravel pit. He says this is the toughest off-road course in the world and the perfect place for our test. He thinks the Fiat Panda and the Mercedes Z-Cross 6x6 is like David against Goliath. It's big versus small, 70 horsepower versus 330 horsepower. It couldn't be more extreme. The Z-Cross is as big as a tank and doesn't so much climb hills as crush them. There's no such thing as an obstacle when you're behind the wheel of this beast. Whatever the surface, the Z-Cross just chews up the kilometres. Even with luggage, the Z-Cross takes it all in its stride. That's no surprise. There's a massive engine under the hood, a 7.2-litre 6-cylinder diesel unit pumping out 240 kilowatts. There's no figures for its 0 to 100 time, but that's because it tops out at only 89 kilometres an hour. It weighs an incredible 10.5 tonnes, and there's a 9-speed gearbox with off-road ratios to help shift it. Slot it into low range, and there's nothing that can get in the Z-Cross's way. In comparison, the tiny Panda looks harmless. It sports lots of shiny plastic and cheeky lights at the front and back. But don't let looks deceive you. It's young, exuberant and very light. And it's about to take on the Z-Cross. One glance at the car's vital statistics and it looks like the Panda doesn't stand a chance. It only has a 1.3-litre engine and 55 kilowatts on tap. But it can clock a top speed of 152 kilometres an hour and accelerate from 0 to 100 in 16.1 seconds. That's not to be scoffed at, but gravel-covered gradients should be tackled with caution. The Panda approaches its limits on the water too. It can manage 30 centimetres of water, but not much more. It's a different story with the Z-Cross. It's so big that even 1 metre deep ditches are easy work for it. Jörg says it was a day filled with mud, stones and hills. The Z-Cross put in a great performance. It can cross anything. There's no terrain it can't handle. He says the Fiat Panda with its 70 PS was good too. It managed the same gradients, the same difficult terrain and crossed everything with style. His verdict? A draw. After the dust and dirt has settled, it all comes down to price. And the Fiat Panda is ahead in that category. At over €18,000, it's good for nearly every sort of terrain. The Zetros is over 8 times that, but it can carry 14 Pandas on the back, if it could squeeze them all on. With its F125, Daimler is offering visitors to the Frankfurt Motor Show a peek into the future of clean, environmentally friendly transport. It's out with oil and in with hydrogen-powered fuel cells. The technology has already been fitted to the B-Class and now it's debuting in the luxury segment. Combined with a lithium-sulfur battery, the fuel cell-powered car can cover over 1,000 kilometres emission-free. Jaguar has lifted the lid on its sporty concept car. It's called the CX-16, and the British car maker is hoping to attract new buyers to the brand. The car is powered by a 3-litre V6 petrol engine producing 279 kilowatts, together with a 70 kilowatt electric motor. It hits 100 kilometres an hour in 4.4 seconds and goes on to a limited top speed of 300. How much car do you need to have fun in the city? Audi's designers had that question in mind with the urban concept. Their answer, less is more. They shared their studio with a glider, the epitome of lightweight and efficient design. The result is a truly unique car that resembles nothing that's been seen before. It will most likely never see production. Our Emanuel Schäfer is taking the Lexus CT200H for a test drive. The auto industry produces a lot of CO2 in making cars, he says. Many companies are producing hybrids in order to sink emissions. Like the Lexus CT200H, the first full hybrid in the premium compact class. It was designed especially for Europe and looks set to shake up the compact market. The CT200H is based on the Toyota Prius. The engines are identical, but the CT200H is lighter and gets better mileage. Just 3.8 litres per 100 kilometres, with emissions of 87 grams of CO2 per kilometre. But the Lexus needs 10.3 seconds to go from 0 to 100 km/h. The Lexus has an elegant design in fitting with the brand's luxury image. The front is dominated by the grille and the headlights. Bumper and front spoiler blend seamlessly into the design. Emanuel takes a look under the hood. The gasoline engine and electric motor have a combined 136 horsepower or 100 kilowatts at an average 3.6 litre per 100 kilometres. Emanuel is impressed. The CT200H also impresses from the side with chrome borders around the windows. The Lexus was designed to provide minimal wind resistance, which also helps in saving fuel. The hybrid symbol is also prominently displayed. Taking a look in the trunk, Emanuel Schäfer says the Lexus has 375 litres of space. Not bad when you consider that there is an electric battery under the floor. If that's not enough, then the back seats can be folded down, giving a total storage space of 985 litres. Toyota calls the technology hybrid Synergy Drive. It has a range of 2 kilometres at a speed of 45 kilometres per hour, purely on the electric motor, making it ideal for small trips in the city. Our tester, Emmanuel, says the best thing about the hybrid is how quiet it is. The electric motor makes hardly any noise. It only gets a little louder when the gasoline engine kicks in. But he says you have to be careful when travelling at low speeds. The electric motor is so quiet that pedestrians sometimes don't hear the car coming. The eco-friendly nature of the car can also be seen in the interior design. The air conditioner has an electric air compressor and there's LED lighting to save energy. The plastic elements on the centre console, doorknobs and steering wheel, however, don't fit the luxury image of the Lexus. The CT200H has 4 driving modes: EV, Eco, Normal and Sport Drive, which can be changed at the touch of a button. To save on unnecessary knobs, Lexus has integrated an onboard computer with a remote touchpad that works similar to a computer mouse. Safety is also a main focus of the CT200H, with 10 airbags as well as WIL system headrests designed to reduce whiplash. The full hybrid, with a consumption of 3.8 litres per 100 kilometres, is available under €30,000, says Emmanuel. The only thing that disturbs him is the plastic on the steering wheel, doorknobs and the dash. If you want to drive a luxury compact but don't want high emissions, then the Lexus CT200H could be the car for you. Once a year, the idyllic, sleepy town of Garmisch-Partenkirchen, high in the Bavarian Alps, is overrun by bikers. For a short time, the population of 26,000 doubles, and the party really gets going. Michael Trammer from BMW's motorbike division says bikers share a sense of community. Bikers want to meet other bikers, and BMW wants to present them a fitting platform. Michael says some of the bikers have come a very long way to be here. It's the 11th time the event has been held, and the 10th time in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. The bikers come from all over Europe, the United States, and even 19 bikers from Malaysia. They sent their bikes by ship to Istanbul and then drove the rest of the way. This R1100 GS has been on the road for 3 years. Igor Brezovar from the Czech Republic has visited 123 countries on 6 continents. Events like this give bikers the chance to meet and talk about the latest news in the motorcycle world, and to check out the latest clothing and equipment. The BMW Maxi Scooter Concept C was a highlight at this year's event. It's designed for use in the city, and BMW says it will go on sale in 2012. Extreme enduro professionals showed their stuff on a specially designed dirt track. Tough going for man and machine. Stunt riding world champion Chris Pfeiffer dazzled the crowds with freehand wheelies and pirouettes, and his son was also on hand. Chris Pfeiffer says you need to be talented and very, very passionate. You have to train a lot to get to a high level. But training is a lot of fun, says Chris. He says you have to hold yourself back sometimes. The only way to make a living out of it is if you go out every day and try something new. After meeting the stars and watching the pros, the ordinary mortals can hit the 10,000 square metre enduro track on their own machines. And after a hard day in the saddle, it's time to have fun. In Garmisch, the party always goes well into the night. The Karmann Ghia was Volkswagen's high-fashion model. In its day, though, the sports coupe came in for criticism. Many said its driving performance was no match for its racy looks. Still, after production ceased in 1974, the Karmann Ghia became an instant classic, which has only increased in value. Our tester says he's sitting in a heartbreaker of a car, a real dreamboat and the most beautiful VW ever built, the Karmann Ghia. Elegant and fragile, with thin chrome pipes for bumpers, the Karmann Ghia looked like it belonged on a merry-go-round rather than on the street. The car bodybuilder, Karmann, created the first prototype for the coupe based on the platform of the VW Beetle in 1953. Production started 2 years later. Painted metal, ivory-coloured knobs, imitation leather and 3 gauges dominate the minimalist cockpit. At the back, the most powerful of the Beetle's engines hums. The first ones had just 30 horsepower, later ones 50. Christoph Bauer says the car looks sportier and zippier than it actually is. When it came out in 1955, it only had a 30 horsepower motor. It took Christoph half a minute to get the car to go from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour. He says it's just a Beetle in disguise. But in 1955, the Karmann Ghia was powerful enough to keep vehicles like the Goggomobil and BMW Isetta in check. Today, the car just goes with the flow, giving drivers enough time to consider little details, like its typically VW smell and its indifferent directional stability. Christoph says it's wonderfully relaxing to drive this car, and that you notice the car's robust technology. Still, the steering wheel is very difficult, and those with big hands like his tend to hold it with just their fingertips. But the horn is the real attention getter, he says. Beep, beep. Isn't that nice? What characterises the early model Karmann Ghias is their inimitable feeling of quality workmanship.
Isn't
the Karmann Ghia wonderful, our tester enthuses, adding that it's the most graceful sports car of the 1950s. He notes that it doesn't have the showy radiator grills of the Mercedes 190 or Bogward Isabella coupes. But he says the Ghia is not really a sports car because under its wonderful body is standard Beetle technology. In this case, a 1.5-litre boxer engine from 1966 with just 44 horsepower. Christoph says while the Ghia won't win races, it does win hearts, especially ones as lovely as this. In original condition, it's got just 33,000 kilometres on the clock. Now he's taking his exceptional model out for a spin. This Karmann Ghia is from the Automobile Milestones collection at the Zeithaus Museum in Wolfsburg. The sporty Ghia coupe was the first to offer elegant Italian design at an affordable price. This was made possible by combining the Ghia's sheet metal body with cost-effective series production technology. Christoph says the car was mocked as being a Porsche for rich housewives, and even an imposter. But if the Karmann Ghia was an imposter, it was a very successful one. It was produced for close to 20 years, during which time 443,000 coupes and convertibles were sold. Our tester says those are sales figures many real sports cars can only dream of. And these days, many people can only dream of owning a Karmann Ghia. Convertibles in mint condition sell for over 25,000 euros, while coupes change hands for around 18,000. Not bad for a Beetle variant that originally sold for just over €3,500. Our tester calls the Carmen Ghia the perfect car for people who like to look sharp and have time to spare. Personally, he'd like a few more horsepower, but he says the car's wonderful design compensates for a lot and makes this car a true automotive milestone.